And what people need to understand, and when I travel throughout the world, like for example in Europe, people are very pessimistic. You want to talk about entrepreneurship in Europe? Forget about it.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
They're too busy taking naps in the middle of the day out there.
They want to go on a
Fucks.
siesta. Yeah, they don't believe in entrepreneurship, which is one of the reasons they don't really innovate very much. I mean, they know how to be efficient, but they're not the leaders.
Yep.
Which is why we had to rebuild them with the Marshall Plan. But anyways, the point is this. Ford did a phenomenal thing for America. This was an economic thing, but it was also culture. And when he said, you come in this mug, you have to assimilate, which is to say, learn about what we mean when we say we're capitalists. You want to be equal, go to Europe. They're socialists. They want to be equal. They make sure that the poor is not too poor.
Yep.
You come to this place, we call it the land of opportunity. We don't care where you came from, but when you show up here, if you're willing to work hard, be intelligent, be industrious, be a good person, you can make it to the apex. And it doesn't matter what color you are, but you have to soak up some of this ism we have here, which is the belief that you should be thrifty, that you should have a savings rate. We used to have a 50% savings rate in America.
Yeah. Not anymore.
Like all of these beliefs made us us. And then when we in no disrespect to the people coming in through the southern border, it's not because they're Latino. I mean, if the southern border had a European country, the Albanians would be coming through. You know, if the southern border had an African country, people from Zimbabwe would come through.
And they still come in anyway. I'll tell you that from experience.
Right?
They still coming through the southwest border anyway. You good.
But what people don't realize is when you have an influx of basically another country flushing their toilets on us, that's what's happening. It's not. You don't get the smart people from Mexico, the successful people from Mexico coming. I know, because I know them. Yeah. And they're good, because Mexico's a cool place to live if you have money.
Right.
They're flushing their toilets on us, and it's changing our culture. And people don't realize that if you take everyone from a retrograde economy and bring them into a developed economy, eventually we will become the place they left if they overpopulate here.
Damn, tell them. Tell them,
bro.
Yeah,
that's what's going on with London. They don't want to talk about that.
And that gets me mad because they're spending 7 million pounds a day on that.
Yeah.
7 million pounds a day on people who are not asylum seekers. They're economic migrants.
Yeah.
I know a solution is one we did before.
Canada too.
Every time you get a degree in science, technology, engineering, or mathematics, you get a green card. Why don't we? The thing is, what we could do is fix immigration to where we just let the smartest in. I want the best and smartest people here because I love this country.
Jingo.
Let me ask you guys a question.
You want to define that one for
So
people?
we've seen, because I think immigration is a fantastic thing, but you got to let the right people in, and you got to let the people in that do it legally versus the people that don't do it legally, right?
And models. Models should all be allowed in this country.
So you look at somewhere like Japan, third strongest economy in the world, extremely homogenous. They don't allow immigration in. They're like, we don't care about y'all. You ain't coming in here. Boom, right? They don't care. But then you look at somewhere like Dubai, right? UAE, 80-90% expatriates, and they're one of the safest places. You can literally leave your doors open. How is it that the UAE was able to figure it out with all these immigrants, but we weren't? I mean, anyone want to speak to that a little bit?
Because they had jobs. Because I used to live there. I lived there for like 10 months. They have jobs. They had jobs for these people. They have extremely strict rules, and so where
Islam helps.
Our federal government is. We get our money through taxation, and they don't have that same thing. What they have is a port system where they can pay for their entire education system and their infrastructure completely through the ports. And what happens, it's really funny, even their military, they're enlisted or TCNs, third country nationals. Their officers are all Emirati citizens.
Yeah, sure. Oh, okay.
They don't have a department of what we have an INS. They have a department of identification there. It's different there, right? And even if you marry an Emirati, you don't become a citizen.
Yeah.
You get if you have a baby. I believe you get $600,000 if you have a baby or something like that from the government.
They give you a free home. They get crazy benefits for being an Emirati.
Because the country has this one weird thing, and the state of Texas is similar because we made so much money from petroleum. To go to college in the state of Texas was damn near free. I mean, it was really, really cheap for the longest time. This is very similar to what they had there. They have the ports company which paid for the entire thing. So I think that's what made it a little different. Yeah. Okay. On a smaller experiment, it works. When you get to the size of China, then it doesn't work anymore, right? Okay. So that's or if you get to the size of Indonesia, you don't have that industry that can just pay for all of your infrastructure. I think
third world workers too.
And that was the other thing is when you're there, you don't really see a lot of middle class. There's rich,
or poor.
And there's poor.
You're right, dude.
Yeah. And those boys are lined up next to the 5 hotel, and you're leaving in the Uber, and there's like 40 of them just sitting there, just waiting to go to work. And so they have that, and they have speed. You know, and I think those two things allow them to do a lot that America could not do at that rate.
So you think that's a big reason why they're safe? They don't have some of the same issues we do with the mass immigration.
And I think they're like the modern day Switzerland. And I think a lot.
That's a good point.
Switzerland.
Yeah, so this that perfect combo.
Crime comes from economic destitution, and like they don't have. What I'm saying is they don't have a ghetto culture where they reward people for breaking the law like we do in the United States, where we literally you are looked out.
Get caught with drugs in UAE, bro. It's a wrap for
sure. But in our culture, we look up to people who listen.
Rappers,
I listen to NWA 36 Mafia. I'm just as guilty as anybody else. My point is they don't have that culture there. Number one, and number two, they don't have massive unemployment. People are there for a purpose. The place is growing, and so because of that, you don't see that destitution. I bet you if you look all over the world, you're going to see a lack of crime in situations like that, where everyone has a place to be, a place to sleep, and a thing to do, and a family.
Even the bitches are working. They're hoes.
Talk about that, bro.
I heard somebody say that black people are naturally not capitalists. Like capitalism is a white person thing. I was like, you're dumb as hell. Because if anybody needs capitalism, it's black people. Their biggest issue is economic, and it like always has been since they were set free. Right. It's always been economic. But to the point about
was it Black Wall Street? To
the point about not bringing in the cream of the crop from other nations. What do you have on the Chinese side? They have the Belt and Road Initiative.